So last time we were together, we spoke to Dr. Lilach Saperstein, and she's amazing. If you missed it, she's an audiologist, and she talked to us all about hearing and the auditory system and different checks that we would do with our children and babies, and it was just absolutely amazing. So I want to talk to you today a little bit about ears and my magic ear potion, and see if I can help you from my years of experience and ups and downs with ear problems. So my kids seem to be very prone to ear infections. In fact, I personally also am prone to ear infections, so I guess it comes from somewhere. So with my first daughter, I was back at the doctor every 2 months to get another round of antibiotics for another ear infection. And that was very frustrating, of course, and that was leading down the road towards possibly needing tubes, having hearing loss. And I discovered that when I took her off of dairy, which is probably not something new that you've heard, but maybe it is, when I took her off of dairy, the ear infections went away. And I also found that sometimes there would be a difference, like with her and also with subsequent kids. I have, Baruch Hashem, 6 children, so we've had, different variations. But oftentimes a child would be fine having some cheese or other dairy products, but milk itself was the culprit. And for whatever reason, I've discovered things like orange juice, what I've heard is that it would need to be fresh squeezed within about 12 to 24 hours before it just changes to be any other sort of sugary drink. So orange juice would also cause ear infections. And the way I was able to tell was by seeing the signs of what I call goopiness, right? Like the signs of congestion, because so often you have a nasal congestion, and then that's what leads to having the full-blown ear infections, all right? So that's one tip. Some kids, it would be something like dairy. I've heard other kids things like gluten, trying to figure out with that child what makes them sensitive to getting the congestion and to getting their ears blocked up. And with different kids, it can be different things, right? So if you have a child that's prone, and it wouldn't mean even that the kid could never have dairy, all right? But it might mean that, let's say we went out and they had, pizza and ice cream and all kinds of shtriyot. So then they were kind of what I call goopy the next day. So then we stop the dairy for a couple days and wait for the body to balance itself out. It didn't mean that none of my kids went off of dairy forever. All right. That being said, some kids still get ear infections. So we have my magic ear potion. Okay. So you may or may not have heard of tea tree oil and garlic. It's a rather common. Rewind. Olive oil and garlic. Okay, I'm giving away my secret ingredients already. Okay, so you take some olive oil and peel a clove of garlic, and you have that sitting together for about a day, and that would make a sort of mixture that would help to heal the ears. Okay, I found that the garlic gets stinky after a while. And I found that olive oil on its own is quite good. But when you get something called tea tree oil, okay, and you add that to the olive oil, then you get my magic potion. And it actually is that simple. I just took the garlic out. I've tried it with the garlic, but as I'm saying, it spoils faster and it gets kind of a stinky smell. So tea tree oil is amazing, okay? I will put it in the show notes so that you know how it's spelled if you're not familiar with it. If you're familiar with essential oils, it's an essential oil. It goes into the name tea tree oil, like a cup of tea and a tree, right? Tea tree oil. It's sold in a little bottle. This is not tea tree oil, but this is just kind of for size to understand. Olive oil, tea tree oil, little bottle here, okay? In Hebrew, it's shemen eitz hateh, just like tree and tea, right? Eitz hateh, direct translation. And I've also seen it sold under Melaleuca, because the tea tree is also called the Melaleuca tree, okay? So what I would do is just take some olive oil, take a little cup, or if you have a need for it often, you can get a little glass jar so you always have it ready. Okay, so now take the olive oil, okay, and just pour a little bit in. You don't need very much. Okay, this is a little mini cup here. And then we're going to pretend this is my tea tray, all right? It's a tiny little bottle. I happen to just be out of it at the moment. And you put in just a few drops until when you smell the olive oil, it smells like tea tree oil. It's a very minty, smell. It's like a eucalyptus-y sort of smell, okay? And it's not going to be very strong. You're going to have to this amount, maybe 5 or 10 drops, not very much, okay? And between the olive oil and the tea tree oil, you have antifungal and antimicrobial. You have different types of things that really will help to heal the ears, okay? You just mix that together. And then you take either a dropper or a syringe, or if you're out of those things, I found that a straw works because you can just put your finger on the end of the straw and make suction, okay? So you dip your straw or whatever you have in, and if you need to make that suction, when you put your finger on the end, it's just so fun and magical, okay? So then you go over to the sink with your syringe or eyedropper or whatever it is. You go over to the sink and you turn on the hot water, all right? And we're going to pretend that this is hot already. Or you can use hot water from a tea kettle, okay? And you put your oil underneath the running water, just about to the count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Then what I like to do is just to dry that so we don't get any water in the ears. Okay, that's not a good thing. And you see how nicely, even in the straw, it stays in. See if I... Yep, it's listening, right? It doesn't drop at all. It's so cool. So now I would have the patient, your little one, just lay down on a pillow, get really comfortable, and have the injured ear facing upwards. I'm not a doctor, right? I'll put that in the show notes. I'm not a doctor. Please, this is just my own experience. Don't say I did something bad because Tzivi told me to do it. Okay, this is just what I do. So I would have them lay down and put the warmed oil into their ear, right? When you take your finger off, it starts coming out, okay? And it should be nice and warm, not too hot. You can test a little bit on the inside of your hand, just like you do with a baby bottle, so that we don't get anybody burned here, okay? And then with their ear up, so you want to massage a little bit and just move it around so it goes through all the tubes, all right? I have found, in my own personal experience, I'm not giving out medical advice without a license here, okay? But I found for myself and my kids and my friends and those people who are willing to take the leap, that even just one dose of this magic ear medicine has been able to fix ears. Sometimes you need a second one, sometimes not. But since I did that two-pronged approach, one part is taking away the dairy or whatever is the offending food, at least for a little while. And the other part is, if need be, to use this magic ear medicine. Thank God, 6 kids. And ever since that first baby was about 8 months old, we have never needed any antibiotics for an ear infection again. Except once I did. I ended up having acupuncture, which helped me. But that could be because I'm not always as good of a mommy to myself. So I may have not put it in. It was a couple years ago. I might not have given myself the proper treatment and care that I would to my kids. So one of my kids, number 4, he was very, very prone to ear infections. So despite what I did, he ended up needing this a couple times while he was growing up. Not too many, maybe 10 times. I mean, he's 20 now, so maybe 10 times along the way he needed that. But that was it. Thank God we were able to avoid tubes and all the things that we were heading towards. So I hope that helps. And you can let me know if you have any questions. And I love you. And have a great day. Bye-bye.